check this out. So this is not really an FAQ because not many people ask questions.
You poor thing.
But there are a few questions that pop up here and there about these originals versus the remasters, and I just want to answer those the best I can. If I can, let's go. How could these remastering engineers put that crap out? It is inferior compared to the original product. All right, you may not agree with me on this, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they're actually trying to do the best they can. And in some situations, I think it could be better than the original. But for the most part, I just don't think they're A-Bing against the original.
Hey, you know everything, don't you?
And if they are doing that, they're at least not volume matching. Because I think if they were, there would be a different product on their hands. Case in point, back last year when I was doing, I think, the Godzilla theme, for his birthday in November. I did everything for that. I had like 3 or 4 guitars, a bass, drums, everything. I put it together. I was thinking, yeah, it sounds pretty good. I think it sounded really good. And then as, you know, people in mixing usually do is they have a reference track that you kind of A-B and back and forth. Not that it has to sound exactly like that reference track, but just to get an idea where you're at. So at the time I was listening to My Dying Bride's newest album, I put that in, compared it to mine, and I was so depressed.
Let me rub your belly.
Mine wasn't even close. Not that I was expecting it to be close, but it was just like, nah, this isn't gonna work.
You don't know what you're doing!
So I went back and started to redo it, trying to make my guitars sound more like the guitars on My Dying Bride's album, which it doesn't. But doing all that just headed me in the right direction. My point is, it's very easy to sit there and start working on something thinking, yeah, this sounds great, but if there's no point of reference, it's like you're mixing in a vacuum, or you're doing your work in a vacuum. You really need points of comparison to see how far you're coming along. When you do these originals versus remasters, why are you always taking the loudest ones and lowering it down to the quietest ones? Why are the quietest ones the standard? Why not the opposite? Why not turn the quietest ones up to the loudest ones? All right, I'm not gonna be able to answer this in this video. It's way too complicated.
Stop making excuses!
And I guess I probably could do it, but in order to make it easier to understand, I planned on doing animation for this. Well, I plan on doing it one day, but I don't know of any animation software that's free and it's easy to do. If you guys know something, let me know in the comments, because I really like to start working on that. I've got stories that I like to tell, and I think it'd be a lot better through animation. I think they'd be a lot funnier too. But basically, I'll leave you with this. If we were to do it that way, if I were to take the quietest ones and turn it up to the loudest, that would definitely influence the tone of those quieter ones. And that's not what the original ones are. It would change them if I did that. If we do the opposite, if we take the loudest ones and pull it down to the quietest, you're not changing the tone or the dynamics, because that's already set. And I'll just leave it there for now. Why don't you put your opinions on these videos? When I first started this, I thought I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna put my own opinions on these videos. And then I got to thinking, what does it really matter? You guys are doing it. I probably should do it too. And if you don't want me to, I'll stop. But basically, a little bit of fair warning here. My opinion is probably gonna be like this. Well, I like this part of the original, I like this part of the remaster. If I could just combine those together, they'd be perfect, so I'm not gonna pick either. Or I'm gonna pick both.
That's a cop-out.
If there's something like that, that happens a lot. It's very rarely that I say, oh, this is definitively the one that I like better than the other one. That doesn't happen too much to me. I usually am kind of on the fence about everything. I'm indecisive.
Are you being indecisive?
You're not being objective, you just like the originals or the remasters better, and that's what you're trying to showcase in these videos. But I could care less which one sounds better, the original or the remaster. All I care about is what is the better sound quality, and that's the one I want to have. And while I don't care at all which one sounds better, I actually, you know what? Actually, I kind of hope it's the remaster going in, especially if I don't own the album. This is my first time listening to it, and I think I want this. It's better to have the remaster because it's cheaper, right? I mean, look at that Sentence CD I did a while back. I think there was like 3 versions I compared way back in the day, and I was thinking, please don't be the original, please don't be the original. I did a blind test, I ended up liking the original best. I ended up paying like, I think $110 for that CD, and then I ended up not listening that much, and I sold it for $20, so I got screwed on that.
You're dumb!
Why do you list the original as 1983 when the first pressing of the CD came out in 1987? All right, this one's a little bit confusing, but I'm trying to make a distinction between what is the original versus the remaster or remasters. So if an album, like say for example, Kill 'Em All came out in 1983, regardless of when the CD came out, the original is just going to be 1983 to make it easy to understand. From that point on, the remasters after that, though, they will be defined by the year that they came out in. Most of the time it's been pretty easy to do this. The last one with Black Sabbath, that one got confusing, because I'm not quite sure which is the original. There's so many versions. So I just listed them, and there's people out there who know that way better than me, you can figure what is the original, what is the remaster. Basically, you're just listening to see which version you like better, right? Why do you always put well said in someone's response to whenever they give their opinion about something? All right, first off, when I say well said, that doesn't necessarily mean I agree with a person. That means I just think they presented their opinion in a pretty intellectual and convincing way. There's been a few times where I've read someone's comment and thought, that drum doesn't sound hollow. What are you talking about? Then I go back and listen to it and think, well, actually, they're right. It does sound kind of hollow. So I like the fact that people will put not just that they like this version better than this version, but why they like this version better than the other one. Because when you got some context there, I think when you're sharing your perspective there, it might change someone else's way of hearing that, which is pretty cool. Oh, and the last one, it's not a question, just an observation, but I notice like a lot of people, they tend to pick versions that have a bit of a boost in the treble areas and they think it sounds clear, which it does. But those versions usually have some deficit in the low end, the deeper bass stuff. I'll give you an example. One of my subscribers, I think, got some Beats headphones and went back and started listening to all these through those headphones. And that person, I think, started to change their opinion on what they thought was better. Because I think one in particular, the Judas Priest one, when they started listening to that, they heard a lot of deep blows in that kick drum in one of those versions that they didn't hear before. So it started to give them a new perspective on what they were hearing before they got that. So always think about what you're listening on and try to listen to it on the best equipment that you possibly can.
What's up?
See you next time!